I would classify lawyers into three groups. Group number one, a lawyer that can give the good or the best advice. Group number two will be the lawyers who can give good or best legal solution. It's the kind of upper level of advice. And group number three is for the lawyers who can give good or the best business solution that's bulletproof in terms of legal aspects.
Could you please introduce yourself for the listeners who might not already know who you are, as well as your academic background?
Okay, I'm Kudun, practicing law for 25 years also. My background is LLB from Chula and LM from Columbia University. So I've been practicing in a number of areas, starting from debt restructuring, because right after I graduated, it was the Tom Yam Kung, time. So I jumped into that area. And after my LLM, I started the capital market, the fundraising sort, and also touched a bit on bank finance. And now I'm more on M&A/general advice.
Let's talk more about your career path so far. So as a founding partner at Kudun and Partners, what inspired you to pursue a career in law, specifically in corporate law and M&A?
Back to when I was a teen, finishing up my high school, just the main idea that popped up in my mind is I'd like to bring justice to the society. And I also at the time want to be a politician, to involve in politicals. So back then for the entrance program, I had to choose the faculties, the areas that I want to get in. So I chose the political science and also faculty of law. And I ended up landing in the law school. And when I was in the last year at the law school, quite a few areas that popped up in my mind how to pursue my career after graduation. So I just crossed out the choices that I didn't want to put myself in. For example, to be a litigator or to serve in the government sector or to be an in-house lawyer. And I was lucky that a father of my close friends was a big name lawyer then, and I had a chance to participate in his firm for 1 month. So I kind of see a real lawyer in action. I was even more confident in picking my choice. The last choice that I picked and I pursue was practicing law in the law firm. And I was also lucky that I joined the right firm at the start. Before setting up my own practice, my own company, I worked for the law firm for 18 years. It was Y& Case when I started and changed the name to Virwong Chinwat and Partners now.
What would you say were some of the biggest challenges that you faced in your career, and how did you overcome them?
At first, to do good in a lawyer career, you have to your legal skills. That's the basic that you have to have it in your pocket. And everyone expect you to be the best and nothing but the best at law. And the area of the law that you learn after the law school is 100% different from what you learn from textbooks, what you learn from in law school. So you have to start everything anew, afresh again. It's not just the law that are different. It's the aspects that people look at the laws and people pick the law to make use of the laws. And that's no shortcut in getting to, at that level. People, your clients expect nothing but the best when you give advice. So that's the hardest part of being a good lawyer. The also almost the same important part is people skill. Because when you communicate, you have to present yourself. You have to be very articulate in presenting yourself. So you have to understand people. You have to also master the people skill. I would think that, legal skill is more hard skill. And the other, area that as important is soft skill. So you have to practice that and you have to combine it really well. And you have to bring the best in you, the aspect that you can be the best. Because you see in your life, some lawyers are really good at advocating, giving legal advice. But some lawyers so good as, giving advice, but really good at people skill. So that's no right, no wrong, but you have to learn that along the way. So that's the thing that I have learned myself. And I think it's the most difficult part that I have to learn. And still up to this day, I have to learn because, things change, the new environments, the new generations, etc.
That was the introductory part of the interview. Let's move on to the next part, which is going more in detail into your specialization in mergers and acquisitions. So looking back, what do you wish you had known about this field of law and your current position before you started?
I think the first thing that we have to learn as a lawyer is to understand what our clients expect from us. Are they expecting good legal advice or are they expecting a good legal solution, which are completely different. When you know base about the law, the next thing you have to know is the business, the aspect, and what value you can bring to your clients in M&A transactions, so that when you are called for advice, you can give the advice that fit for their business models. So in M&A, before you jump into the work or you give into advice, give the advice, or you structure the deal, you have to understand what's in it for them first. If you're representing a buyer, you have to understand what's the value that they are looking at the target, either the assets, maybe it's not the whole company, maybe just one single license, or maybe just one piece of land that they need to acquire the land to get something to expand. So first thing first, you understand what's in it for them, and also you have to understand how to structure the best, not just for your clients, but for the opposite side of the table too, because it takes two to tango, right? If you representing your clients, which is the buy side, so well, such that they take the huge advantage over the sell side, there might not be a deal at the end of the day. The sell side may walk away from the deal because you're taking advantage one after another.
And after having worked as a lawyer for decades and many years, what is the most challenging or interesting case that you were a part of that has changed your perspective in a certain way? And what did you learn from that experience?
The first deal that I learned, and I think I got different aspect of business, is came from the rehab case. Back then, it was new to everyone. Chapter 11, the rehabilitation was new to everyone, and everyone was in shock because of the crisis hit. And the law itself are so special that it overrule give exception to a number of laws, so that the debtor company can restructure the debt. The debtor company can bring all the creditors to the table to negotiate the debt. We're talking about 1 to 100 or 1 to 1,000. So when I jump into the work, and I knew nothing about business. I just saw into the law. Then I let the law or the legal advice lead the practice. The outcome is one thing. It was a success case. But if I can turn back time and jump into that case again, I would think that I would have done it definitely. So that's the first case that changed my perspective completely. And after that, I jump into the case in the capital market. It's more on fundraising. It's very interesting. You have one project. The first case is, for me, is the property, the real estate projects, and how to monetize the project by way of setting up a property fund at the time. Then it became REITs. So you have one, generating project, real estate project that generate huge, and stable cash flow. It can expect 10, 20, 30 years down the road. How can you, capture the future cash flow 30 years down the road, and then kind of combine it in one package and put it in the box to secure the securities, like asset-backed security. If you look at the financial textbook, it's more or less asset-backed securities, and then you offer the securities to public to purchase. Very interesting too. So I worked on the rehab case, which was the downside trend of the business. And after my LLM, I started to work on the fundraising case, based on the real estate project is kind of upside trend of the economy too. So I start from bottom and back to the other side.
That's really interesting. It seems that you have a very good perspective on both sides of the spectrum when it comes to different cases.
I would say I am lucky.
So how have you approached advising clients on high stake cases, and what do you consider to be the most critical and important elements to focus on?
First thing first, you have to understand all the deals for the clients is as important. It's their baby, regardless of the size, regardless of how fast they want to close it. So it's their baby. You have to take the best care of their baby. So it's not about the size. It's not about the volume, how much you want to purchase, how much people want to pay. So that's the first thing that you have to understand. The second thing is everything are related. You cannot just give advice and put it on the table and just among the other 1,000 pieces of the jigsaw and let your client just deal with all the jigsaws by themselves. To me, I would group lawyers. I would classify lawyers into 3 groups. Group number 1, a lawyer that can give the good or the best advice, good or best legal advice. That's a lawyer, group number 1. Group number 2 will be the lawyers who can give good or best legal solution. It's the kind of upper level of the advice. It's higher level, right? And group number three is for the lawyers who can give good or the best business solution that's bulletproof in terms of legal aspects. So totally different. It's like, undergrad degree, grad degree, and also, the doctoral degree. So I would think that I would urge all my teams to be, at least you have to master the first group. You have to be in the first group first, because not all the lawyer can be in the first group, more than half of them, fall out of the first group as well, because they cannot give even just good or best legal advice. Then you move from the first group to the second group. And if you have what it takes to move yourself into the third group, then you move to the third group. But it takes everything. So back to the approach for the high stake transaction, right? First thing first, you have to understand it's their baby, it's our client's baby. And secondly, everything, correlates, everything related. And especially for M&A deal, you have to understand finance, accounting, tax. And then the last thing you have to understand is law. And you combine 4 areas to form your advice. Then the client will take your advice to adopt into the transaction. They have to apply, business perspective. They have to apply, the pros and cons of, the business aspects of the deal that they are in Thailand. They value legal advice quite different from the clients from the other countries. Most of them think that legal work is just ticking the box. No such value, no much value in the legal work per se. So when they come with that perspective, when they come with that mindset, they would expect just compliance and check the box or close the deal, complete the registration, etc. That's the expectation. So with that, you have to differentiate. You have to understand and differentiate yourself from the pack, from the peer. Otherwise, you fight with the other law firm. That's one thing. And the business environment that would drive the M&A would be the merger this time around, because due to the hardship of the economy and everything. So the players tend to merge to gain more advantage in the field. So it's more on the merger deals, and also the one that cannot survive in the environment will have to merge into the bigger player to survive. So that's the trend. And also it become the trend for the clients in the Asian countries too.
So moving on to the next part of the interview, we'll be talking more about your professional advice for young law students. What advice would you give to students who aspire to specialize in corporate law or M&A? And what key legal and non-legal skills do you think is the most important for success?
For corporate M&A lawyers, you have to understand one thing, that there's no such M&A laws in Thailand in particular. It's all general laws, civil laws that you have to understand, and you have to pick piece by piece, and you have to put them together into one piece to understand the whole thing. So again, it's everything, correlates, everything is related. So you have to understand that first. And you cannot just hold on to just one law and use that as a key to all the doors that you are trying to open. That's the key to the practice in the corporate M&A field. And that's for the legal skill. And again, non-legal skill, you have to kind of put yourself into the client's position, right? You have to understand, what's in it for them. And you have to understand kind of the way to approach people and the way to approach the problem. In M&A, there's no such formula for, success case. Everything can happen in business world, everything can happen. So you are working in that environment. How you can make yourself flexible enough to serve that sort of clients. The more you can, be flexible and give very good and clear practical advice, the more the value that client will see you.
So you mentioned that it's very important for lawyers to have good people skills. So what is the most effective way to network with professionals in the legal space, especially in the corporate legal space? And why do you think people skills and networking is very important?
Law firm is service business. We serve people. Very plain example. You go to get yourself a cup of coffee. You go to Starbucks, you pay 100, 200 baht. You expect what? You not expect just, a cup of coffee. You expect the best service, the most friendly service from the barista. That's just the case for you pay 200 baht to get one cup of coffee. For legal work, for law firm business, clients pay million and they trust you to help them to achieve 100 million, 1,000 million deal, maybe one of a lifetime deal for them. You think what they can expect? They pay that much and they entrust you to help them complete one in their lifetime deal. They expect nothing but the best. So with that in mind, when you approach the clients and even the lawyers of the opposite side, you have to understand them first. You have to listen to them first, and you have to respect them as well. I think we all know that some persons can be not so good, person at times, right? But if we understand them and then know where they're coming from, and we can approach them, in the right aspect, and you have to maintain, the benefit that you have bring to your clients. That's gonna be the best way for you to close the deal for your clients. With that, you have to learn a lot on people. That's one thing. And second thing is people tend to work with someone we know. So let's come to networking, right? Networking, not just you show up in the event and you enroll yourself in a seminar. Not just that. You can network yourself in a meeting room as well. You can network yourself with the person sitting opposite to you as well. The work is not just you go to meeting room and you start negotiate the contract right away. You understand, what's in it for the sales side, what is for the buy side, and what's the issue that the lawyer from the other side trying to, protect, and how we can, unlock the lawyers or the financial advisor to open to the options that we like to negotiate for our clients. So it's nothing but people skill.
Is there any particular course or certification or general experience that you recommend for young law students to take if they're interested in mergers and acquisitions?
I would think the 101 accounting. You need to understand accounting no matter what. And also finance. The course, I'm not so sure, but for the book, you can go to, kind of Asia book and get yourself a good books for accounting and finance for non-lawyer. Start from that first. Yeah. And you'll be amazed that, everything in legal field, accounting and finance, everything the same, just, the same token, but different side.
For the law students who are not really sure about which area of law to specialize in, do you have any advice on how they can figure out which area they prefer?
You try first. You go to a law firm and try. Some law firm will let you try, almost all the areas for the first 3 years so that you know what you like to, pursue yourself. But some law firm like to put you just in one particular practice group. You have to be in the group, start from, junior level up to the senior level, right? If possible, try to, join the first law firm that, give you, a chance to try everything. That's number one. And number two, if possible, you try to join either, corporate practice, get to know things in general, or litigation. Because litigation or dispute is kind of the downstream. When it comes to dispute, it's the thing that you have to present your case to win the case. And with that, you have to work backward to understand, all the fact and why, people come up with all these conditions and why this contract, etc. And then you apply the law to convince a judge or an arbitrator to rule in your favor. And with that aspect, you're gonna learn a lot, and you turn yourself into practicing M&A corporate. You have a wider aspect of how you should give the advice or how you should prepare legal document.
What are some strategies for law students to stand out when they apply for these law firms, as you mentioned, because these positions are very competitive? So what do you suggest they do to stand out in their CV or their resume?
It's not the academic record that will make you stand out. Some candidates come with not so impressive record, but they can give me good explanation what happened during the period that they are in law school. So it should be the mindset that you have very clear vision on what you like to do and what you want to be, and when you face a hard time, when you face difficulty, how you're going to deal with it, how you're going to make yourself through. That's the topic that gonna make you stand out. And I believe if you are smart enough to convince me during the talk for half an hour that you're good enough for that, you are smart enough to work for us with a law firm. I'm sure all the partners that interview you will get the same sense.
Corporate law is known for being very high demanding. So how do you manage a work-life balance, and what advice would you give to students who are preparing for a career in M&A?
You may not like my answer for this. Work-life balance depends on how you give the definition to this word, right? Work-life balance. You can balance it every day, and you can balance it in everything that you are doing, right? But one thing you have to understand: you cannot achieve what you want every day. You cannot achieve what you want every single things that you are doing. You may be okay on this, but you may fail, and you may happy with the thing that you do, but it's going to be up and down along the way. That's the balance. It's no one thing or no one solution for this. So you have to balance things along the way. You have to accept the down as well, because it's going to be uptime and also downtime. It's not just the legal career. It's life that we are doing a marathon. It's not a sprint. With that, you understand that the game you are in, and you have to understand yourself, and you keep running. You stay with your pace. You don't have to look at your friends or your peers and feel inferior. So you have to keep it going. We talk about for the first 10 years as a lawyer is investment period, right? And after 10 years, you can harvest what you have invested for. With that in mind, you're going to know that, it's going to be uptime, downtime. You're going to be, someday you feel so depressed. You have to understand it, and then you get up again next morning.
In your opinion, do you think having more practical experience, such as in internships, is more important than getting good grades or getting certifications? What is your opinion on this?
Of course. I think we value that internship more than the academic record. We are open for law students in sophomore year, junior year to join the firm, managing your free time slots to help as a junior lawyer. So to put yourself into the environment to understand. Even for my friends' kids, some are thinking of entering into a law school. I ask them to join the firm to get the sense of what we are doing. Some are in law school already. So I ask during the school break, and you don't have any particular program, then you come to work for a month or so to understand what we're doing, to get the sense. That's more valuable than just academic record. And I'm sure the person reading your CV will be impressed by your internship.
We've reached the end of the interview today.
The end.
So we have one more question now to ask you. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice at the start of your law school journey, what would it be?
Let's start with the advices that I if I can turn back time, I would still give the same or do the same. One, we have to understand there's no shortcut. You need to be a good or great lawyer. There's no shortcut. You can use Google or you can use Gemini sometimes, but there's no shortcut to build your muscle. Secondly, focus more on people skill. At my first 5-7 years, I was so restricted, so harsh that I just focus on the work, less on people, less on colleagues. And also, you have to groom the new talents. You have to train your junior to work together, to get going together. That's going to be the advices that I would continue the same. And the thing that if I can turn back time, I would change. I would tell to my younger self that please do more on this, is to balance in life, to have more balance in life. Back then, for the first 10-15 years, I was so aggressive, too aggressive on that. Less balance, too aggressive. But if I can, put more balance on life, I would think that I be happier. Balance, and not in terms of, your lifestyle, but also in terms of learning, because you need to learn from someone with more experience. You need to learn from, your senior person, your team leader. They give good advice, you can learn. They give bad advice, you can learn too.